Hey everybody, it's the Dino and Joe Show. My name is Dino. That man over there is Joe.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. I
Awesome.
seem to have much energy this evening. I don't know why, but
That's
feeling
great.
really good. Yeah,
That's super good. I am
yeah.
I am drained of energy. We're waking up earlier and earlier and going on walks, and it's just I'm falling asleep like on the couch, snoring myself awake every night. So it's a new surprise every night, I'll tell you.
It's like, what's the over under on 9 p.m.?
Oh, it's very good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
9 at the most. It would be like 9:15, but
Oh, you're pushing
definitely.
it. You're making
Yeah,
it till
I'm
9:15.
I might be able to push that. It depends on what time we eat dinner too, because once if dinner's a little bit later,
Yeah.
oh, it is 5 minutes afterwards. I am out. No question. No question whatsoever.
And she sits there and does what? Watches you
Watches
sleep?
whatever, something on TV. She'll read. She'll go on her phone. She'll do something on whatever. She'll
Makes fun of you. You don't know it because you're asleep.
probably.
Oh
I
yeah,
would. I would if I were
I would.
her.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm sure my wife does.
Yeah.
I was crashed out at 9 o'clock last night. I'm sure she was like, "Oh, there's my husband."
Yep. Just knocked out.
Excellent. I thought it would be kind of fun to talk in this segment of the show about some travel stuff.
Yeah.
Because I am a big believer that there's certain places that when you travel internationally, for the most part, as a general rule, you
Mhm.
don't want to end up.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, I
I.
think it's probably
Yeah.
probably a pretty American like thought process, right? To think about these places are better here than they are there,
Sure.
right? But I have this list of these of the top three in my mind, and
Okay.
I will tell you that these are the places I've always said when I travel internationally. And I used to travel before I got married. I used to travel internationally by myself.
Sure.
And so there were places I went to that I was always like, I never want to end up in one of these three places because for
Mhm.
some reason they're the three places that make me go, yeah, no, this isn't good.
Right.
Right. And one of them I found myself in actually in Ireland at one point, and I really was close to actually going through with where I was at when I
Oh.
realized I'm like, I'm in one of those three places right now. And what do I do?
Uh-oh.
Right.
Okay.
So would you like to take a guess at any one of those three places?
Okay. Three places that you would not want to be while traveling. Now, this could be any country, correct?
Any country, even the most civilized countries.
I'm gonna say jail.
Oh, that's a big number one right there.
Right? Like
There is.
I don't want to be in jail in the US, let
Yes.
alone anywhere else in the world. No,
I have
thank you.
seen way too many movies to, I mean, and I get it, they're movies, right? But when you see Midnight Express and what he
Sure.
goes through, like
Yeah.
in that prison setting, right?
Sure.
You see some of these most world's most dangerous prisons. They're not in the United States.
Yeah. Locked up
And
abroad.
yeah, locked up abroad.
Like that
Exactly.
has made me never want to do anything. No, yeah.
Yes. I will tell you that is the number one place for me that I realize, man, if I am here, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yes.
And I am in a really bad situation and I'm not getting out.
Right.
Because I don't believe any American consulate's gonna come find me if I'm trapped in a prison overseas and go, "Hey,
Who
we
am
need to
I?
save that guy."
Yeah, who am I? No.
Like,
You
really?
can live without my taxes, I
Have you
think.
seen that cute little show he does? We're not setting him free.
Right, yeah, we're not doing
Right?
that. He
No.
made fun of West Virginia that one time.
Right, right,
Um,
exactly. He's not American.
he's not an
Uh,
American. Whenever I think of being jailed abroad, I
yeah,
shoot to one movie, and it's not the worst situation, but it always takes me there. It's
yeah.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I love that movie with with
Steve Martin is in that movie, I know for sure, and
both con men
Mi
who live in like my and
you totally
it's
froze there. Michael
oh
Caine, Steve
yes,
Martin,
Michael
and
Caine, Steve Martin. They so Michael Caine is like a fancy guy who
yep,
lives off of the Cape of Monaco, and
yes,
Steve Martin is this American who comes in trying to con rich
yes.
women there as well, right?
Yep,
It's
yep,
not to the high level as Michael Caine, but he gets thrown in jail because Michael Caine recognizes that he's trying to he might
yeah,
scare away some of his bigger prey, and they just jail him, and he's in there like pacing back and forth like, I don't understand what I did, I don't understand. And just I imagine that happening
yeah,
where I insult somebody or threaten somebody somehow in an unambiguous way,
right.
and I get ended up throwing in jail, and I have
Yeah.
to ask for that man, and then I end up becoming his protege in a wonderful scheme to defraud women of their money.
So your
That's how
belief
it
is
always
that
plays out in my head.
if you go to a prison overseas, you're going to end up as a con man's apprentice.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's probably a better situation than I
That's
just referenced
probably
Midnight Express,
you're absolutely
where the guy tries to
100%
smuggle
right.
drugs and ends
You're
up in
right.
prison for a very long time
You're
in a
right.
foreign country
I,
in a really bad situation.
yeah, I would
You,
never do that.
I love your merry little world versus
Uh,
my like.
it's
You are going
right.
straight to hell world.
I try to keep it on the up and up. I try to keep it positive, but it doesn't
Well,
always
I mean,
work.
I might end up being a con man's apprentice. That would
It
be horrible
could.
in Monaco.
He,
That'd be terrible.
yeah, it's
Uh,
fantastic.
Meanwhile, I'm like fighting for my life in a Filipino prison somewhere. It's not a good
Yeah,
thing.
that's even when you think about it, like, I don't want to go to jail in Canada.
No,
Canada's a real nice place, but I don't want to do that.
I'll bet
Like,
they're the
it's,
nicest jails, though.
I'm sure they are.
I'm
Like, I
sure
have
they are.
zero doubts about that, but
Yeah.
I just don't want to do that. All right. So that's
What
number
you in
one
for,
is
eh?
jail. Yeah.
What's that about?
Did you did you take some of the maple syrup? Okay. So jail is number one. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
to guess a number two.
Okay.
So for me, jail is scary because a lot of bad things can happen. Another place that bad things can happen. This might be a weird one off the wall, but I'm gonna say a tattoo shop.
Oh my God, that's number three for me.
Seriously?
Yes.
Well, I only think that because I don't know. Like I imagine an American going to a tattoo shop in like an Asian country and trying to get
Yeah.
like some sort of a
Yeah.
an Asian script, which a lot
Yeah.
of people do, but they're just like stupid American, and then they end up putting something like soy sauce on your arm or something. I have that fear of like them mocking me for being that typical American who goes, somewhere to get
Yes.
like this special tattoo that it's just ridiculous.
Well, tattoo ink is not regulated.
Oh, see, I
So
don't know about this.
whatever is in the ink is in the ink. And in
Oh,
some places, in some parts of the world, there's been rumors of arsenic being in your tattoo ink, or
okay.
asbestos or whatever. Now I did break that rule. I got
You
a
did.
tattoo. I did. I got a tattoo in England,
Oh, hold
and
on. You're frozen. Hold
you're
on. You're
frozen too.
frozen.
No, you're
Okay.
frozen. I'm
Now
not
we're back.
frozen. You're frozen.
Well, you're frozen. Just let it
But
go. You get it?
but
That's a
yeah,
good
I
joke.
got it.
Sorry.
That was good. That was
So
good.
you broke that rule.
Yeah, I got a tattoo in Liverpool while I was
Okay.
in
See
Liverpool.
now. Okay. Now here's. I don't want to be countryist or whatever, however you want to describe
Countryist?
this,
I think you just made
but
up a word. I like it.
but in
Countryist.
England, that's not a place that I would be afraid to. That's not a country that would draw my suspicions. Now, again, I'm not a person who would. I don't have any tattoos. I don't like pain, and I don't like anything permanent. I just don't. I change my glasses once every few days because it's too boring. So I'm not going to put something permanent on my body. But if I were to, that'd be a fun experience in Liverpool. I
Yeah,
would do
it
that.
was. Yeah, I
It's but you got to draw a a line somewhere, and you're
right.
like, oh, I did it in Liverpool. Let me do it in Bangkok.
Yeah, right,
That's where
exactly.
you got to
Right,
draw
right.
that hard line.
And it's not that tattoos aren't common in every culture or other places around the
Oh,
world,
a lot of
but
freezing. A lot of freezing
yeah,
tonight.
a lot of freezing. Yeah, it's cold in here.
Sorry.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's not like tattoos are like, you know, only strictly in one part of the world. They're a cultural
I-
icon across all
Absolutely.
cultures, right? But for some reason, it just seems like one of those areas where if you're in the wrong place, it's the wrong
Yes.
decision at the
Absolutely.
wrong time. Um, but yeah, buddy of mine and I both got Liverpool tattoos in Liverpool. We were there for a Liverpool match and we got them the day before the game. So I did break that rule, even though I have that rule. But yes, there are some places where I'm very weird about that.
And when I think about it, like, in New Zealand, they have very traditional methods. I think they have like
Yeah.
they don't use any sort of like modern tattoo, and I think that's so
Mm,
cool. That's so amazing, and that has to hurt so bad, but it's such an important part of their culture. I think it's so
yeah.
cool and so intricate, and the fact that
Yes.
they can do that with literally the more basic tools, I
Yeah.
think is so outstanding. And I think
Polynesians have that. The
absolutely, yep,
Japanese have the
yep.
tradition, right, of the hammered
Mhm.
tattoos where they're not using the pen. Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
I think that's
Yeah.
so cool. I just
But
I
yeah,
don't
have a
I
couple.
can't I don't want to
Broke
get
that rule.
stuck by a needle that many times. I just can't do it. I'm not that guy.
The sad thing is, it's not that I have 2. It's not that I have 2. It's like it's the fact that I want another one.
Sure. Well,
Yeah,
that's
they
what
are. Yeah,
so
they do.
so I have people who have tattoos and they're like, which one's your favorite tattoo? Oh, my next one.
Yeah, yeah.
It starts with 1 and 2 and then it's 5 and then they have like a full body tattoo. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, and I got my first one, I was way younger, and then
Okay.
got this last one within the last 10 years, and now
Okay.
all of a sudden, lately, I found myself, like, thinking, "Well, I wonder what my next one's gonna be." So,
Well, there
yeah,
you
I do.
go. See?
Alright, can you guess what the 3rd place is?
So for me, it would be linked to tattoo
Mm,
indirectly,
okay.
where if things go bad, you go to this place, the hospital.
That is my 2nd one. Very good.
I got
Wow,
the
3 for
trifecta. I
3.
didn't do it in
That is
order, but I
incredible.
did. Well, it's
Um,
just when I think about it, those are the places I would never want to be ever.
and I can't and again, modern medicine around the world, but I don't know why in the back of my head I have this belief that, like, if I go to a hospital in the US, I'm safer than if I have to end up in a hospital in another part of the world. But I know
Right.
it's not true, right? I
Yeah.
know, people go to the hospital all the time in all kinds of different places in the world
Right.
and they're fine. But for whatever reason, like, that's the place where I know if I'm here, something's gone really
Mhm.
bad. And
Yes.
now I'm here, and now I'm worried about being here.
Right. It's the pre events that led to the hospital
Right.
that often are more concerning than being in the hospital. But I don't like being in a hospital in the US.
Oh,
I
no.
definitely don't want to be in a hospital anywhere else. I don't care if it's Canada, England, Bangkok, South Africa, wherever. Like, I don't know. That's a
Right.
no thank you. That's similar to jail. That means something has happened that requires me to seek that level of medical attention.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I again, I can't speak to the quality of medicine anywhere else in the world. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
actually some places probably better than ours. But
Sure.
for whatever reason, I
Right.
think that your belief is that American medicine is the best medicine. And if it's not that medicine, then maybe you might be in a situation where you don't want to be, even though,
Right.
again, people go to the hospital, have operations, have babies. Like, it's
Right.
not like
It happens all the
we
time.
cornered the market on that, but for whatever reason,
We've cornered the market. That's it.
on medicine and having babies. Yep, that's what we
Um,
own here.
I had a friend who traveled to an Asian country,
Mhm.
and they were there for, I don't know, maybe I think 3 weeks, but in the middle of it, he got very sick from, I don't remember if it was from drinking water, food, whatever, and he was in the hospital. I don't think for very long, maybe or two, but they gave him some pills, IV, all this different stuff. Fine, no problem. Like, everything was totally cool, and he was like, "Oh man, how?" I think the people he went there to visit were like, "We'll pay." He's like, "I could not accept that. That's too much. Please, no, I can't. At least let me pay you back. How much was it?
Right.
$37. Okay. Here you go. So
Right.
it's one of those things where it's like,
American?
for everything, for everything.
For
You
everything.
mean 3,700? No,
Right.
$37. Like, 1, 2, 3, 37. Okay. So it's just that's the other crazy part where it's like, okay. And it again, it's the same thing. Medicine is medicine is medicine.
Right. Right.
So
Well, when
now,
it's no, go ahead.
no, please.
What were you gonna say?
I had another thought, but I want to hear your thought before we move on.
Oh, I was gonna tell you that I can tell you when it's gotten really super horribly all time bad.
Yes, when?
That's when you wake up in a hospital bed and you're handcuffed to the bed with a guard standing over you. You've got a fresh tattoo.
Yeah,
That's
is that the rest of your story? You
the
got the
rest of
fresh
my story.
tattoo in Liverpool and then you ended up in the hospital
No,
from
no,
arsenic poisoning?
no, that did not happen. But
That did not happen. Legally, I
that's
cannot
when that
discuss
trip
it.
is either the greatest trip you've ever had or it's the absolute worst trip you've ever
It's
been on.
it's the end of it's the end of you. You're gonna rot away in an English.
Oh,
Kind
the
of makes me think like, oh no, again?
yeah,
I
it was
have to
funny.
buy better internet. I have to get better internet or something. I don't know what it is. It's ridiculous. Again, bad network quality.
Internet with a coupon. That's what it is. You need to.
I guess I don't know. I got a deal, I thought. Okay. Well, it made me think of when we're talking about, doing these things that you don't want to be when traveling internationally. What is the most surprising thing that's ever happened to you or that you saw when you were abroad?
All right, we'll come back to that. We'll take a break, and then I'll answer that question.
I love it.
It's the Dino and Joe Show. Welcome back to the Dino and Joe Show. This is Dino. That is Joe.
Hello.
And he's not frozen right now.
I'm not. It's the first time this entire episode that I am not frozen.
Give him a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
and
just give it.
So in the last segment we were talking about, I have this list in my head of the 3 things you don't want to end up being at when you're traveling abroad.
And they were very apt.
Probably even like in parts of the United States, but definitely abroad. Like those are places. And you managed to guess all 3, which I'm pretty impressed by. So
thank you. I tried.
But then you asked a question, and that question again was,
what was the thing that surprised you the most when you were traveling abroad somewhere?
So for record, I've been to a bunch of places, right? From Ireland to England to Italy, France, so I mean, the West Indies,
Traveler.
right? West
Oh
Indies,
yeah,
St.
there it
Kitts
is.
So yeah, we love to travel. That's something that we really, really, strive to do. And now that we have kids, to take them with us, because I think it's important for them to see other cultures, other parts of the world, have those experiences, to see the things they learn about in school. I think that's always a big thing. And just to understand people, right? But I guess I'll ask you, what is the most surprising thing that
I have been fortunate that there haven't been a ton of crazy things, but I think for me, it was the ridiculous size of proportions that the US has compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Australia for 3 months,
Yes.
right? A large is about yay big. A large is it's kind of in between our small and medium.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, I was hoping to have a little bit more than this. And then I realized, I'm like, why do I need more than this? It's so like, that's ridiculous. And I just think about how, if you go to like a Wendy's, it's like this big. It's like
Yeah.
the size of a small child.
You could
It's
swim
like,
in it.
well, yeah, what
Yeah.
that's so much. And the food too. We ordered a pizza from Domino's because we wanted a touch of home for a little
Right.
bit, right?
Right.
So we ordered Domino's. It was like something ridiculous in price, like $43. And I'm like, all right, well, we got a lot, whatever. Doesn't matter. The company's paying for it. We really want it. It's fine. The damn pizza is like a personal size pizza. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. So we ended up ordering a second one because we were starving. We'd worked for 14 hours that day. We ordered a
Right.
second one so we spent $80 on 2 pizzas that are about that big.
Wow.
It's crazy how Americans have sizes the size that they do. Like it's really kind of crazy, and that has made me realize that you don't need that. Get a medium, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's more than enough. It just
Look,
but that blew my mind.
I don't think it's any secret. Portion control has been a major problem in the United States, and obesity and child obesity, right?
Mhm.
Once we, what was the report? Is that we don't export food, we export um, uh, high sugar items, high
Mhm.
fructose corn syrup, right? That's our
Yep.
major export to the world, and then they blame us for child obesity across the world, and a lot of it is proportional, right? So, yes, I mean, if you think back to one of the original South Parks, right? It's where they're at dinner and they have the Ethiopian child, and then Cartman introduces an appetizer and says, "This is what we eat to make ourselves hungry."
Yes,
Right. And that is
exactly.
and that is how we live our lives. Like, can you imagine like just getting like a hamburger and fries? Like that doesn't exist anymore. Now you can add on 10 chicken nuggets for $1,
A
right? Or,
dollar.
all this really crazy stuff. And portion control has been a major issue, but yeah, absolutely. In other countries, they do not eat the amount of food we do, for sure.
Well, not only that, but so I was working in a mall for this particular job, and there was a big food court area.
Mhm.
And there was a Macca's, as they call it in Australia, McDonald's.
Yeah,
That was the place where I was amazed by the size difference. But you go into this food court and they have such incredible fresh sushi. And again, it's Australia, it's in Sydney, so it's by the harbor. It
yeah,
makes sense that
yeah,
it's fresh fish. But you go there and there's this delicious looking Italian food that looks absolutely divine, but completely healthy because it's made by this wonderful Italian family that immigrated there from Italy and does everything, from fresh materials. And it's so good. And it just, you don't see that in the US. And if you do, it's either a ton of money or you just don't have it.
right.
And it's just very jealous. I'm very jealous of that because that place was so good. Like I would have a delicious caprese salad or something like that, and it would be more money because we're in Australia because
Right.
everything has to be imported. Like that's just part
Sure,
of it.
sure.
But you come here and you don't even have that option in a lot of places. So it's just that was a big shock to me. It was just a lot of the food proportions, just types. You come here, a hamburger is $1,
Yeah.
but a salad is 15.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's very
Really?
true. Very true. I
So
mean,
that
so
that that blew me away.
food deserts is a big conversation in my area because where I live is one of the biggest food deserts in the
Really?
United States. Yeah.
Huh.
And the access to a McDonald's is actually easier and cheaper than access to a grocery store where you can get fruits and vegetables.
Hmm.
So think about that for a second. It's actually more
That's
convenient
ridiculous.
and cheaper to go get a Happy Meal and feed your kids stuff that's not necessarily the best stuff for you. Although,
Right.
again, in moderation, I don't think there's anything wrong with
Yeah,
a kid having a Happy Meal. Having them every day is probably not a wise choice.
absolutely.
And, whereas, you can't go and get a tomato, you
Right.
can't go and get lettuce, right? You can't go and get other things that you need to sustain yourself. And so, but I think you're very right. Like it is a proportion game, right? And in the United States, it's all about bigger proportions for supposed less money.
Right.
And then the healthy stuff or the organic stuff is more expensive. Makes no sense
Yep.
to me. It
Yep.
takes less to grow it, but it's more expensive to grow it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, sure. Right there with you. For me, total switch of
Yes.
gears.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that I have traveled and never had a problem in my life traveling anywhere except for one location. And
Okay.
I had heard that these people were going to be really rude. They don't like
Okay.
Americans, right?
Yes.
And I did not find that to be the case in 99% of my visit to France.
Mm-hmm.
Did not at all. Like I thought the people were lovely. And I
Mm-hmm.
had, we don't speak the language, right? But that is a part of travel, right? You figure it out. And I
Right.
think you treat people well and they treat you well and it all seems to work out. And we had a great time, absolutely great
Yeah.
time, except the one guy. Now, mind you, when we went, my wife was 6 months pregnant. So she's
Okay.
visibly pregnant
Yes.
while we're in France. And we are at the top of the Eiffel Tower and
Okay.
we're getting ready to ride the elevator down. And we're standing in line, there's a bunch of us in line, and here comes this couple that just steps in front of everybody. And my wife happens to say, "Excuse me, the line's back here." And the guy turned around and started to berate her in French to the point where then, I had to step in because he literally touched her pregnant,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm
Problems.
mad, right? And
Right.
now I'm like, okay, well, we're about to be the ugly Americans here,
Right.
right?
Exactly. You're about to see what an American experience is like. Let's do
Right.
this.
and and so I go off on the guy, right?
Yeah.
And we're staring daggers at each other. The woman he's with is trying to get him to back down,
Sure.
whereas my wife is not getting me to back down. Like
She's
that is
egging you
not
on.
happening.
I
Oh
love it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
Like she wants nothing more to clean the guy's clock. So
Sure.
she's not gonna let me stop at that point. And I
Right.
just not my normal behavior, but like
No.
I
That's
was
a
like
different
enough's
situation.
enough, right? And so the line splits off and they go one way, right? And we go the other. And I'm just fuming the whole
Yeah,
way through,
sure.
right? Like at this point, I'm wound up, right?
Sure.
We get around to get on that elevator because the two lines come back together and they put the first two groups from each line in the elevator together. And who is staring right across from me? And I'm like, we make it to the elevator, dude. You ain't making it down in one piece. Like,
Right.
I'm just
Like,
like,
let's not do this.
and I must have had a look, and I must have had a look that said, I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
because she literally grabs him and pulls him back and lets the other couple behind go in their place. And
See,
we get in the
that's a
elevator,
smart woman
and
right
I'm
there.
telling you, I step in front of the people, and I'm at the door of the elevator as that elevator door is closed. He remembers me.
Yeah,
To this day, that guy still
that's
remembers
amazing.
who I am.
That's amazing.
But I
That's
will tell you, that was the only experience that I really felt like was bad. Like,
right.
we talked earlier on an episode about like the panhandlers and the people trying to make
Yes.
money, right, and that
Mhm.
kind of thing, and the scam artists, right? But they're not French people. They're people from wherever they're from, trying to like get one over on anybody. I don't equate that to the people that live in that country, but for the rest of the people, it was a great time. We had an amazing time. Had some amazing food there. Amazing food. And I don't know how much of that you heard because you're completely frozen. So we'll wait. You look very grumpy with me too, by the way. Like very grumpy, like Grandpa Grumpy. I'm very disappointed in you, D. Very disappointed. By the way, I love this shirt. You're so frozen. It's unbelievable. Wonder if we can go to the last remainder of this segment and not have you say a word. This has just become my show. I'm taking it over now. It's just the Dino show. Joe's just there as a poster on the wall, and that disappointed, mean face that he has. We're back after some technical difficulties. I thought maybe you might like my monologue. I can't wait till you can actually go back and listen to the show or watch the show again and actually hear the conversation I was having.
I'm
Um,
excited because I'm sure it was going to be amazing.
I was talking about how you look like you were very disappointed in me. You had this really grumpy look on your face, and you look like you were very disappointed in me for my antics when it came to the elevator episode.
No, I'm proud of you. I would have egged you on as well. I'd have been like, take him down, take him down. Um, so
And
I
again,
guess
that's
another.
not really me. That's not
No,
really how I
of
behave.
course
Like,
not.
trust me. Like when that is Spinal Tap. My amps went to 11
Yes,
moment right there,
it's a
and
different situation. I
and
get
we
it.
don't have them, right? But yeah,
Yes,
that was at least nothing happened. And I didn't end up
right.
in jail or
Or a
the
hospital.
hospital.
Yeah, and you didn't get a tattoo, so you
Right.
saved yourself.
Right.
The one thing also, and this is Australia as well, was they speak English in Australia. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
fine, whatever. I have no problem. But
The
similar
form
to,
of
I feel like,
English.
right, similar to Scotland, some of them speak very quickly with a
Yeah.
very thick accent, and I was surprised to find myself having to say, "Pardon me, I'm so sorry. Would you mind repeating that?"
Right.
Because it's just like if one of us spoke too quick with a Midwestern accent or a Southern accent or Boston accent, it might be difficult for someone from another area who maybe
Sure.
doesn't understand that. And it was just that was another surprising challenge that I had a hard time understanding English. They also use different words like sunnies and servo and bogan and all these different things that
Right.
were not part of my nomenclature, but after 3 months there, I kind of finally picked it up a little bit.
You
So,
figured it out. Do you know what's funny? I learned working with the Canadian team that I work with today.
mhm.
I learned that they don't, or at least this individual did not know that we have prejudices versus other parts of the country.
Oh yeah,
Like, well, Canadians think of Canada as Canada, right?
right.
Like, and then I found out they do too have like these beliefs of like the different parts of Canada,
Mhm.
right? But I had to like sneakily get that out of them because they weren't going to give it up. But they
Right,
were amazed to me, which was very funny. They're like, I didn't know that like that there's this image of people from the South versus people from the North, and
right,
people from California versus people
right.
from New York. And
New
I'm like,
York, right?
really? I'm
Yeah,
like, oh yeah,
yeah,
and I'm explaining it to him. I'm like, look, like there's, no matter where you go, there's regional like things that we think of, right? We're still
right,
50 states with the belief that like our state's a better state and
right.
our people are better people, right? And but yeah, it was very funny to hear that. And then I got them to admit that like once you get outside of Toronto,
Mhm.
there's also this belief, right, of like the further out of Toronto you go, the maybe less educated or
Right,
different accents or,
right.
it was really funny to hear that after they were just like so blown away that we couldn't, we're not just all Americans, but we actually like take shots at each other, which I thought was
Yeah,
fun.
that
That's a very funny
it's
thing to
yeah.
learn.
Like everybody for us in Illinois, everybody in Wisconsin's a bunch of cheeseheads.
Yeah, of course, you hear that all
Like
the
it's
time,
just
right?
that's just what it is.
Right. I come from Iowa, right, originally. Well, oh, they're all slow, right?
Right.
Everything's slow there,
Mhm.
you know? And
Nebraska
you
is basically just one big cornfield you drive through to get to
right.
every other state.
That
That's it.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Nebraska is where you go through to get everywhere else. Yeah, we've heard
exactly
that. If you're Montana, you're a rancher,
right.
right? If
Yeah.
you're from, California, everybody says dude and, is laid
Surfer.
back and,
Yep.
surfer. And then, it's just funny. Like in Texas, you all want to be independent and free of every nation and be your own.
Right.
Everything's bigger in
Own thing.
Texas
Right.
nation, you know. Yeah, it's pretty funny. People in Florida have a difference between the panhandle
Right.
and then the people who live like in the southern Florida, like, Jacksonville, Miami, right? Like
Right.
there's a
There's a
cultural
very big
shock
difference.
difference. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Big old difference. And do not get that confused. If somebody says, "Do you know where this is in Florida?" and you don't know, do not guess because you're going
No.
to insult them. If they're from Miami and you're like, "Isn't that up by the Panhandle part?" You
Oh yeah.
will incur a wrath. So
Yes.
do not make that mistake.
Very funny. Very funny. Anything else when you travel that's been a moment of you got to be kidding me?
Not that I can think of. Like it's I did forget once when I was in Canada that the it's kilometers per hour, not miles per hour. So here I am
How
in my
fast were you
American
going?
car going like 100. Yes, this is free. And then I quickly remembered, oh, right, for us, it's the slightly lower numbers. Oh, that's only
Right.
60.
That
Okay. I
we
guess
didn't
I
know it
should
was
slow
actually
that
there.
down. Right. I
Yeah.
should slow that down a little bit. I don't want to, again, don't want to go to jail
Right. Don't want to
or
go to
end up in the
jail.
hospital after a crash.
Look, if I'm
It
going to
all
Canadian
works.
jail, it's because I stole a Mounties horse. Let's just be honest. It's the Dino and Joe Show.